project, which is funded as part of the Interreg Greece-Italy 2014-2020 program. This program aims to the tourist promotion of Western Greece and the region of Apulia, the two protected areas of the natural habitat of Tabada and the national park of Altamura. It aims to record the various hiking areas and their digitalization through a platform using a multimedia map with points of interest. Today, the representatives of the partners will present the results of the P.A.T.H project. Before we proceed to the presentation of the results, we will listen to greetings from the representatives of the authorities, our guests, and the representatives of the partners of the program. We will move on to a brief greeting by the President of the Regional Union of Municipalities of Western Greece and Mayor of Calabria, Mr. Papasso. Good morning to all of you. This is a program which was supported by the Regional Union of Municipalities of Western Greece. As you said, it covers a long period. The program was implemented in collaboration with the stakeholders in the program from our country and from Italy. In the region, in the Italian region where the program was implemented, I would like to tell everyone that for us, we are sure that the results of this program will be of great benefit to our regions and the regional and their tourist development. We are giving a lot of new information which we did not have. All municipalities will benefit from this program. We now have specific points of interest that are reported in the program, and these show what tourist development we can have in specific points of our regions, which have been studied through the program. Tourism for Calabria, of which I am the mayor. I have to say, tourism is of great interest because agritourism, religious tourism, conference tourism, even, I would say, a kind of scientific tourism, all these are of great interest for our areas. The natural areas have a special habitat, and the natural habitat is protected there, and thus we have new conditions for tourist development there. So, to say a couple of things on the essence of the program, such programs must be implemented. They're very useful. We have seen that we have noted a great collaboration in the program between people who have in-depth scientific knowledge. Our partners in the program proved their scientific knowledge on this issue and the issue they worked on in this project. We are very happy about this. We want to continue our collaboration in the future. We want to find a way to continue our collaboration because we have a lot to learn and to benefit through this program that you have implemented so far. It's going to be useful for all municipalities here. So, I would like to welcome you to today's online conference, to thank you very much for your efforts, to thank you for the deliverables you have given us, which we can use to the benefit of us all. And I hope that in other such programs we will be able to participate, to contribute, and to play our role to manage to implement programs for tourist development. Thank you very much. now move on to a greeting from the rector of the University of Patras, Mr. Buras. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm particularly honoured representing the University of Patras to take part in this event. I believe that such programs boost collaboration between regions. I would like to say that a similar program is implemented at the University of Patras. It's part of my Europe, which is going to be presented by my partner, Mr. Courthouse, and I think we need to find common routes of collaboration to improve things. In any case, the University of Patras is open to local authorities, to society, for large-scale collaboration, to offer through its know-how and its skills anything that we can for social well-being. Thank you very much. Sorry I'm pressed for time, but I hope that the conference is successful. Thank you. We will now move on to the representative of the Infopoint officer. This is Papasso. Good morning to everyone. I'm very happy to be part of this PATH conference presenting the results of over 2 years of work. I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me. I take part in this conference as officer of the Interact program. My role is to support all stakeholders in the region of Western Greece to implement territorial collaboration projects between Greece and Italy. Since 2018, we have started implementing in the region of Western Greece more than 35 projects with more than 28 beneficiaries. The main aim of this territorial collaboration program between Greece and Italy is to boost collaboration between two countries with a rich environment and a long history of collaboration. We have 3 regions of Western Greece participating in the program and the Apulia region from Italy. The program aims to help public institutions and local authorities implement pilot actions and to develop new services and products to improve the quality of life of citizens in the selected area. The PATH project has boosted collaboration between the two countries. Activities organized by the region of Western Greece as a lead partner in collaboration with the ICT of Italy, the Taranto Regional Resources Authority and the National Park of Altamura definitely add value to transnational collaboration. So this is in the core of environmental management, creating hiking routes for people with disabilities that allow people to go around, to travel around areas. And I believe that this project is going to be very important. Its results are going to help a lot in the future, and I would like to say that the funding of this Interact project is about 123 million euros, and it's jointly funded by the structural funds and the 2 participating countries. I hope that everything goes well today, and I'm looking forward to seeing your results. Thank you for inviting me here. We will now move on to the representatives of the Italian partners. We're going to start with the ICT Institute of Italy. And on behalf of the director of the Institute, we're going to have a greeting by Mr. Nicola Morello.
Procucci, director of the Construction Technology Institute of the National Research Council of Italy, acting in the PATH project as a technological partner, I would like to thank the leader partner and the partners with their staff. The resilience and patience that everyone showed during this project were praiseworthy, allowing to overcome all the challenges posed by the COVID pandemic, go ahead and hit the project targets. This project took its first steps and proceeded due to the collaboration of people involved also in previous projects. Once again, a demanding task, but also a pleasant path to make together. Therefore, I hope we may continue to strengthen our institutional cooperation in the future, as suggested by the President. Thank you again, Theo, Dionysios, Alessandro, and Maria Giovanna.
On to the P.A.T.H project manager from Canada. Who's going to
Alessandro, scusa, devi ricominciare con l'audio. Non si sente, hai l'audio chiuso.
Sorry. Hello everyone. I am Alessandro Mariggio, Director of the Regional Natural Reserve for the Eastern Coast of Taranto. I would like to thank you for coming today. A special thanks to leader partner and our project partner for the organization of this final conference. It was a pleasure to collaborate with this partnership. In the hope there will be other possibilities in the future to intensify this further cooperation. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you. We will now move on to the representative of the National
Good morning to everyone. I am Francesco Tarantini, President of the National Park of Altamura. I would like to welcome all of you and to thank the representatives of the project partners, and in particular the representatives of the lead partner. We are very proud to be partner of P.A.T.H, a project that have a significant impact for our territory, bringing many direct and indirect benefits to our community and at a cross-border level. Thank you and good work to everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tarantini. Now we are going to move on. The Vice President of the Union of the Municipalities would like to say a couple of words. He supported the program greatly. He just wants a short intervention. So before we move on to the presentation of the results of the program, we're going to have a short greeting by Mr. Vasilis, who is the mayor of Aqueduct. So we probably have a technical problem. We're going to start with the second part of the conference and the presentation of the project results. Mr. Patras, the project manager of P.A.T.H, is going to say a few words about the P.A.T.H project and a quick overview of its deliverables. Good morning to everyone. I would like to welcome you all here this is the completion of a common force collaboration over these years. We all have that we could work on such an interesting project. Since we've presented the partners of the project, I'm not going to talk about a formal presentation of who's who. I'm going to move on to the actual program. So the rationale behind the Union of the Municipalities, which we are part of as well, we are the leaders essentially of this program, it was to use the European programs to gain tools that address all municipalities. We are a union of 19 municipalities. So, the way in which we work can only be as an executive partner. And through these programs, we create such tools that can support all the municipalities at the same time. Now, moving on to this project, I'd like to say that we have a tradition in implementing similar projects. Recently, we implemented the ICE program under the Interreg framework again.
This gave us a tool. We wanted to learn all the stakeholders that produce culture and civilization that are active in local societies, and to allow them to collaborate and to join their products through a comprehensive tourism package. It was very important. So, based on the same rationale, we thought that we wanted a more specific tool. So, the main finding for building this program was that 19 municipalities in some way have some information that is presented on tourism, but this information is not homogenized. So some municipalities have more information, other municipalities much less, but definitely there's a different way of presentation of this information. So based on this rationale, we thought that we could create a common tool for everyone where interested parties who want to learn information about a specific region in tourism, in our region for example, can do this easily and in a streamlined way for all municipalities. So based on this idea, we thought that we should create an electronic platform which homogenizes the presentation of the information for each municipality in using a joint methodology. So put simply, it's like an electronic tourist guide which concerns our broader area. So we created this electronic platform where we had to provide information on the region. Of course, we should say that although as an authority we cover a whole region, so 3 prefectures, 19 municipalities, the partners from Italy had what shall we say, a micro-region. This did not present any problems in our collaboration. On the contrary, because I believe that both of us passed on our know-how and experience on how we manage this, depending on where you stand. So we thought to create this platform, and in the first stage we wanted 1,500 points of interest to create information on this from all 19 municipalities. And then we thought, how are we going to do this? What methodology are we going to use? So we need to categorize all these. What do you mean 1,500 points of interest? Do we mean sites? We mean culture? We need the environment? We mean the protection of natural resources, so natural habitats, as well as the cities in these areas. Also, we might have just some points that have a lovely view, which might be of interest to visitors. So we need to provide information on all this regarding what services are available there. If a visitor is somewhere, what are they going to receive? What benefits, what amenities are there? Is there a local surgery? Is there a police station, etc.? So, in the first stage, we selected these points. We classified them depending on type, and we started to gather primary material to enter into the platform. So it's very important. It was a crucial point in this project. As you know, all these things take place through contracting. You outsource this to a contractor, to someone who will undertake to implement the project. So the issue here is that how exactly can you safeguard the executives, the local executives that have this extensive and specialized experience? This happened through our excellent collaboration with the local community and with the companies here. And this gave us the opportunity to create a working group with people that we selected from a region with extensive knowledge of all these different sectors. So, for example, when I talk about the environment, we suggested, and Dimitris Papandropoulos, who was a team member, we've collaborated in the LIFE project as well. I knew very well his extensive experience as a scientist, as a field scientist. He has walked across this entire area, so I felt safe that all the information on the environment, if Dimitris Papandropoulos could take this on, the information would be reliable and original. We also had we had this scientist on the team. When you have to present all this information on culture, which is not just about very specific to the cultural issue, but you need metadata like a critique, comparative information on these projects. I mean, you might have different cultural resources. How do you select each based on what comparison? So there we collaborated with Nikos Antonopoulos, and here obviously people know him. He is passionate about the area. He knows a lot about the area. He has visited all places. I would say that it's his personal passion. So we felt that we had a reliable team with these members. And we also had Mr. Papasso, the representative of the university, a scientist and researcher who undertook the hiking paths. And then we had excellent scientists from the local community who helped us a lot over this period to complete the project. So, having selected these 1,500 points of interest, we built brief summary presentations, and this is not easy for each and every one of them. This was also written in English, and we had thousands of photographs, thousands and thousands of original photographs. This was a huge project to reach all areas, to manage, to map, to photograph all the points of interest as they are today. This is very important because an archive photograph might be completely different from what the place looks like today. So all these things we feel very proud about. All the photographs, the on-site visits, the meetings to reach, to select these areas. We started with many more points of interest, maybe over 2,000, but we narrowed it down to 1,500, and this was a very important project. So we were very proud about it, that we managed to make the most of this project. So now a couple of things about the platform. As you understand, it's a great tool, but this reached a level, the mapping of the points and the photographs and the services, as I said. We aim, and as far as I know, the board of the union is planning to develop this tool so that we can draw information and present information in the future on the businesses that are related to tourism, so catering, restaurants, accommodation, rooms to let, etc. So when visitors go to these points of interest, they need to know in advance if they can stay there in the area, if they can eat there, if when restaurants are open. They need to have the telephones of local businesses to book accommodation. So we have a large project ahead of us to add all this information, and of course actions as well. All things that are going on at a local level in local societies can be entered in the platform. So unions dedicated to sports, to agriculture, to natural activities, hiking, bicycles, horses, all the offerings to visitors could be entered in the platform. So moving on, this was the first level of the e-platform. Another tool that we wanted to implement through the program was hiking. So we went beyond just the points of interest. How do you draw the visitors to the area, not just for one day, but for 2 or 3 or 4? So Mesologhi, Calavrita, Olibia, all these are areas, they're destinations that are known to international tourists. But when you get there, how are you going to go, for example, from Olympia to the forest of Foloi? How are you going to stay there for more than 1 day? So we contacted the university and the great team of Mr. Papasso with a great passion. As I said, they had a team of young and enthusiastic people. They went around the area, and Mr. Papasso is going to talk about this, and they proposed 34 hiking routes. Of these, they will be presented in detail, but I just want to say that these are just indicative routes. So in the future, if someone proposes a new route, a hiking route, for example, from people who are professional hikers, or a specific route, if someone wants to include a new route in the platform so that it can be accessed by people who share this interest, so we can have a process to include new hiking routes in the platform. So this is a living tool. Now we have 34 routes. In the future, we hope to have more and specialized routes depending on the interests of the people who are going to propose the new routes. Another action that has great interest is the response of the young people, pupils. We created a contest, the region of Western Greece, about short films. And despite the difficult circumstances, the 3 films we presented could stand, could be shown in conferences and large conferences, and they could be shown to promote the area. They could be shown to during the presentations at conferences. They are very high quality, and this is this was great that we had such enthusiasm from pupils, and we were very happy about this, to see young people who can use technology to participate in such a contest. Excuse me. Another interesting thing is that one of the hiking routes has been filmed to give us an idea of how this is implemented. A last tool, which was contributed by the Italian partners, was the crowdfunding platform. This platform, given the circumstances now, we learned how useful it can be. In the future, now we know how we can collect money by inviting many different authorities and social stakeholders who can help in a specific target. So if you set a goal, if you want a special needs school, for example, or something for people with disabilities, using such a tool, you can raise public awareness, and you can draw funds to collect money for this. This is very important. We learned a lot about it, and Nicola taught us a lot about this kind of tool, the crowdfunding. So I think it was quite a detailed presentation. Our Italian partners gave us great examples of micro-regions, as I said. This perhaps is the next step for us. So we had a more kind of executive task. And now we saw our Italian partners, they taught us how to do things on a micro scale, how to manage our regions and to boost their presentation. You will have the opportunity to see the presentations by our Italian partners. The Technological Institute was excellent. It taught us a lot because obviously it's at the cutting edge of technology and information, and that's what they do. They inform authorities like us about latest developments. And to finish, I'd like to say, why did we choose 2 presentations from 2 programs that are not from us as a team? Because it has to do with synergies. We saw that there are also other Interreg programs, and that each of us can support, we can all support each other and develop all our tasks together. So with the Interreg and with CI Novatech, we found a lot of common points, and they are going to be presented later on, and you'll see how in reality these tie in with our proposal, and we need to create synergies in the future to join these programs and to add the information created and to use them through these different tools. So I know I took up a lot of time, but another thing that's important is the QR code. This is a very innovative tool. QR codes are small tags that offer electronic information by using an apps to visitors on site. These are used widely abroad, but for us it was rather innovative. We used it with a pilot sample of 350 QR codes at specific points of interest. In this way, we managed to reach the European average in this area. We had to overcome a lot of difficulties regarding collaboration with the local authorities, with the Archaeological Service, etc., to manage to do this mapping. And through the conference we attended in the summer with the Minister of Tourism, essentially we were explained the national tourism policy and how this ties in exactly with what we are doing as a case study, shall we say. So this made us very happy because the national strategy is an electronic mapping of nationwide resources. So we felt very innovative. We felt that we were pioneering in this target because we managed to do this on a regional level in a timely fashion. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be here to... And I would like to thank all the partners. We will do this. I mean, I would like to thank all of them one by one later. Thank you very much. We are going to move on with the partner of the region of Western Greece from the University of Patras and Professor Vasilis Papasso, who is going to talk about the mapping of the routes in Western Greece. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me and for having us here today. I'd like to thank the organizers. Just a minute, please. I'd like to share my screen. I would also like to thank the board of directors and all authorities and the executives of the project for their excellent collaboration, and all partners, the region, all other contributors to the project. It was a great collaboration. I would like to express my warm thanks to Mr. Kaberos and to thank him for talking about us as young people. We're not really young, I think, but we feel young. So the team, it was a small team. It wasn't many people on it. We had myself and Mr. Panomarios, who is greatly experienced in cultural issues. He's with us today. And some other partners specialized on the project issues. So, after being assigned the project, we proceeded to our collaboration with the project partners that covered a great area. We might think we know it, but it's a great area of almost 12,000 square kilometers. And this was quite a challenge. As Mr. Kaberos said, in the beginning, we designed the mapping effort of these routes. We had we suggested 32 routes, kind of based on the 1,500 points of interest that are going to be presented later on. So the idea behind the program was that we have 1,500 points of interest that we can provide more information about, and these can be joined through routes. The aim is for visitors to be able to draw their own routes through these based on specific criteria they will set. So to have a kind of guide, we started with these pre-designed 32 routes with various characteristics. Some were hiking routes, some were train routes. One was a train route. So in the beginning, these accounted for more than 1,600 kilometers. So based on this, we designed a specific methodology to move from the initial design in our offices. And after documenting these areas, after learning about these areas, their cultural specific characteristics, their environment, to manage to feel like we've been there, to manage to design specifically our on-site visits and mapping, and then we went back to our offices to process this data and to convert it into a form compatible with the platform's needs. So I'm not going to go into further details of the methodology. What I want to say is that if we had the time required, this essentially, it's a living area, so we should be able to do this work again in the future and in different seasons of the year, because areas change throughout the year. We did not have this extra time, so we tried either through on-site visits, which were more than one at each area. We tried to find the best time to visit each place. Mainly it was during the autumn and winter, to see what they looked like, to see how this program could be implemented by the average visitor. And I'm not talking about tourists, I'm talking about visitors, about guests, about explorers, because tourists, the word tourist kind of implies a consumerist attitude, whereas we wanted to focus more on an in-depth understanding of the local areas. So we created a technological environment based on modern technologies and mainly on georeferencing data and tools. This information, this technology, although we've been using it for almost 40 years, is constantly developing in parallel with the terrain mapping technologies. So, starting our mapping effort, we had prepared some raw material apart from the maps that we had. We created our own maps, which did not strictly follow the original routes we had designed, but we created a buffer zone wider than the areas, than the routes, because many of these 1,500 points of interest were kind of around these areas. So we had catalogued already these points of interest as they were given to us by the project partners, and we collaborated closely with the P.A.T.H partners, because it was a very difficult task. It's like having all your kids in a line and you have to choose one of them, some of them, to present. I mean, it's the same with natural resources. It's difficult to choose. So after choosing these points of interest and classifying them, we started a very nice procedure of implementing these trips. It was both good and bad. The time we had under the contract was in autumn and winter, so we faced a lot of challenges because the routes, as I said, were not limited to the routine routes, but we moved off-road, where we had challenges with difficult terrains, with difficult natural phenomena. So we started mapping them. It took us we covered more than 3,500 kilometers. We collected almost 5,000 photographs, and we filmed quite a few hours of on these routes. These on-site visits, as you see here, we started. This is an area, for example, from Santa Mere. I mean, it's a random example. We try to cover all the municipalities and all the regional units. So as we see here in the upper left map, we see the area we covered. On the bottom right, we see here where we reached, the data we reached based on the density of the points of interest and how compatible they could be and offer an integrated experience. But we also provided, obviously, technical information as well, as you see in the map in the middle, where we have recorded the actual information, not what we want. So we wanted the red route, but the recorders are very sensitive, so they recorded exactly where we went, where we were, if we walked off road, etc. So this whole procedure, apart from on-site visits, apart from technical mapping, was essentially a quality mapping, where in the end the experience of the in-situ visit, our knowledge of the area, and mainly our experiential understanding of the area based on the criteria used, led us to reach, in collaboration with the partners of the project and the Topos company, to reach 34 routes, the main criterion for which was a redefinition of these areas through on-site visits, through memory, through understanding, through what an explorer or a visitor wants when they go to such an area. So we ended up with 34 routes. I don't think I need to present them all one by one. We have submitted an overall volume with details in electronic and printed form, so if you want, you can get it from P.A.T.H. And of course, these 34 routes, these were actually much more than what the contract asked for, but we were never interested in that. We provided many more routes. These are spread over all 19 municipalities. They have different characteristics. The total length is near that originally provided for. What we changed some information was the type of route. If it was a hiking route, a road route, or a mixed route, we see on the left the original design and then what we ended up with. And on the map, with blue, the original design, and the red was the final result. The characteristics of these routes with quantitative approach. Some are all year round, some are only for the summer, some cannot be accessed in the winter. Some are on tarmac, some are on road and off road, most of them actually. Some are easily accessed, so the average visitor can follow them. Some are more difficult and they need special vehicles. And of course, as regards the cultural character, some are more mainly natural routes, some are urban routes, purely urban routes, or mixed scenarios. So most obviously are outside cities, because cities are more or less known, but we wanted to promote lesser known routes outside to make them better known abroad. although the program has some particularities because it's based on the design of these routes by the visitors themselves, based on modern electronic tools. So nothing fancy, but just a phone, for example, with GPS to monitor your route, etc. For safety reasons, we also recorded these routes with more conventional methods. For example, based on the changes in the signs of places on the route. Then we moved on to see what relationship did the new routes have with the points of interest, not only on the axis followed, but say 500 to 1,000 meters from that point of interest, because it's easy for the average visitor to go a bit off track to visit a point of interest. Another thing is that we emphasized routes that are also suitable for people with limited mobility and disabilities. We found 4 routes, and here we have quite a few things to say. I'm going to talk about that in the end, but yes, we mapped 4 disability-friendly routes as dictated by the program. So all this material was organized based on the program specifications to be uploaded on the platform. There was information on route length. So if I have time, I'm going to say that the shortest route is a hiking route, 3/4 of an hour at the archaeological site of Vudini, and the longest is 4 hours at Nezerochorgia. And obviously we made a note there because 4 hours in a day is quite difficult, so we suggest that accommodation locally there. The one with the highest altitude was in Kravara in mountainous Nafpaktia, and the one with the lowest altitude is Mesologia, obviously, and we provide information on length. The longest route is in mountainous Achaia, Daphne, 136 kilometers, and the shortest is the ancient Olybia archaeological site. So all this information was organized based on the specifications in excellent collaboration with all the partners. And this material was used to enrich the platform, and by accessing this material to contribute, as Mr. Cadbero said, to contribute to promoting QR code locations for QR codes. We see one here. This allows us to draw information on these routes. The distribution of these QR codes along the routes, apart from helping visitors in undertaking the route, create a sense of safety that they're on the right track, apart from, you know, the actual feeling of safety that you feel with having your smartphone with you in any case. So this was what we did. And in addition, all this material was organized digitally and in printed form in Greek or in English. We created a series of themed maps, either on the entire region or on one of the 3 regional units, or detailed maps on the 34 routes. We have digital maps and printed maps on these, and these include, apart from the axis of the routes, the 2 buffer zones of 500 and 1,000 meters and the points of interest. In addition, we described, unfortunately, in summary, we could not go beyond the specifications. So we described the routes based on information on how these can be implemented and what a visitor will face. and by promoting the cultural and spiritual offerings of each area. In this framework, we created a series of pictures that kind of provide more information on each area. We could not do this for each area. It was beyond our contract scope, and I would like to thank our partner Thanasis Spanomaritis for his excellent designs, I feel. And we proceeded to taking pictures of all the routes and of points of interest around these using a photography technique called illustrative mapping, so that visitors can know what they will see. And we mapped these areas, most of them, either in detail, as we will see in the next slide, or in more detail, such as indicative pictures on the start of each trail, the best point of interest. But what does that mean? Obviously the best. Or what does representative mean? But we discussed all these things with all partners, and we wanted to promote such information: representative points of interest, quality points of interest, and technical details, the start and the end of the route. Apart from such criteria, we also had for some routes, we had photographs from the route itself. We also had the cumulative gain. So what does that mean? That on this route you start from here and you go up here and down here. But here I go up and down, up and down, up and down. So we had the terrain profile and the gain, which is an indication of how difficult it is. And we completed all this with a series of videos, representative info videos on each route. We see here the home screens of the videos. They're publicly available on a YouTube channel, and of course these were part of the platform, and this was essentially what we did. So I'd like to say a couple of words about how we experienced this overall task. The routes that are disability friendly, I believe, were not very satisfactory. Yes, they're designed to be disability friendly, but there's quite a few problems, and I think that this does not only have to do with the region of Western Greece, but it's an overriding attitude and perception in our country about how such routes are designed. There's a lot of room for improvement. We don't aim to complain, but we do need to present some findings. The quality of the environment in many of these points of interest leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not going to talk about specific municipalities or whatever. I don't aim to complain about specific people or municipalities, but we do see some indicative pictures here of problems encountered. I think there's a lot to improve in the environment and the monuments, especially in the monuments that are not do not have an organized structure. The routes, the hiking trails, quite a few of them need a lot of work to be done. The same goes for roads. Although they feel they create a sense of adventure, if a region wants to dynamically enter alternative tourism, hiking tourism, or to allow visitors to go off track, the region needs to emphasize the quality of points of interest. I think that it's a very important issue. But I don't want to leave you on a negative note, so I believe that our region has great and potential for tourism growth. The alternative approaches to tourism are very popular. They're going to become even more popular, especially given the lockdown and the COVID crisis now. Such programs that allow visitors to create their own path, they offer a sense of great potential, and aided by such programs like this one, I believe that the region needs to embrace this program, not only now, but in the future as well, to implement it correctly. It's a great starting point to manage to operate this program through its natural resources, going beyond our partners. Obviously, these are synergies and we need partners, but apart from that, the region has to make the most of this potential, and I believe it's worth it. Thank you very much. I hope that I didn't take too long, and I don't know if Mr. Spanomaritis would like to add anything else. Thank you very much. I don't want to add anything. I'd like to thank you for offering me the opportunity to participate in this program. Just one thing. The opportunity offered by this program to redefine our environment is very important, and I believe that it's the beginning of many developments in the field, because how we see the environment today does not only have to do with archaeological sites, but it has to do with the environment of the Mediterranean itself. Thanks to everyone for allowing me to participate, and I hope that it's continue being successful. So now we're going to move on to Mr. Papandropoulos, who's going to talk about the field work in the Greek points of interest. Mr. Papandreopoulos. Can you hear me? So I'd like to extend my greetings to all the partners. After this extensive presentation by Mr. Papasso on the routes, my presentation is going to be much simpler. I was assigned to collect photographs for all these points of interest, which were scattered along the 3 regional units. It sounds simple, but it's a difficult task. I visited about 1,000 of these points. My scientific field of study is specialized. For the last 30 years, I've been working on study on birds in Western Greece and in a broader area, and I'm thus familiar with the area, and I think that I know my way around. But I battered quite a few vehicles in this effort, and I could not do this on my own if I did not have the help of my collaborators, Mr. Papasso, who gave us photographs from his archives, Mr. Caponis and Thomas, the company that helped us. And this is indicative of a very close and productive collaboration. I will move on to what I had to do. So I'm going to show some slides. I hope you can see my screen. So I'd like to start with something that someone could say that I'm a bit of a localist. The municipality of Patras, where I live and work. We can't see your screen. Then there is a problem with your connection. So, would you like to just continue? So I wanted to structure my presentation on how I understand the area of Patras. So if the technological constraints allow us to show you a short selection, and apart from those things that are going to be considered common knowledge, there are some technical problems with Mr. Papandreopoulos' connection. If you can hear us, could you switch on your mic and camera? Can you hear me? Yes, sorry. So, I can hear you. We have some technical problems. So to continue with the program, given these technical difficulties, we're going to move on to the presentation of the Italian partner, which is the largest part of the project, which has to do with the presentation of the digital platform. So we're going to move on to Mr. Magillaro, who's going to talk about the digital platform and the digital map of the points of interest. Over to you.
Thank you, Alessandra. I switch to my presentation. Do you see it? All right. I start my presentation once upon a time. Why? Let me show some email in 2016. Dear Nicola, hi. 3 more ideas that we elaborating here above. A project about self-guided tours, the creation of a GIS map and application that can be downloaded in hotels, rooms, and so on, and offer multiple information about routes. Dear Faye, please look at the attached file, a draft map of the project, finalized to give a graphic idea of the proposal, and so on, day by day. And dear Sandra, thank you very much for your huge effort spent for this project. Now, all we can do is keep our fingers crossed. And so, from the project approval to the project kickoff meeting. Oh, is our project funded as per attached list? Oh, yes. Dear Mr. Maellaro and their partners, we are glad to inform that the project proposal has been approved. And then a kickoff meeting in Patras and start to work with the project. A first road testing in Italy, a first road testing in Greece, production test and requirements updating. You are seeing some video 360-degree increase on Vonitsa. And surveys here in Taranto reserves, but also in Altamura parks. And then the production phase. There are 3-dimensional models, items, and 24 videos and 22 virtual tours. And so on, working with P.A.T.H code, languages, and data issues. That data upload and data entry. We have a lot of work for this kind of activity. And as well administrative procedures. And finally, to crowdfunding and mapping platform. Our institute introduced the Help Our Paths and Lighting On platforms aimed at the promotion of the natural and cultural heritage of the project's target areas. The consultation speed actually is not high, as the platforms are currently installed on a storage server used for development purposes. The platforms will be installed on a web server chosen by the partners. Help Our Paths platform delivers the technological support to crowdfunding campaigns that will be launched to collect donation and volunteering activity proposal for specific natural and cultural heritage projects. Now we are seeing some screenshots during a session. From all projects, we can choose to see only the projects of barrier removals. There is only one project of this selected category. Then tapping on the image, we will see the project page and, for example, the donation page. In this project page, we are seeing a draft project done by Antonella about the Chiesetta Neviera, something more than just a lovely little rural church. But a church with such a history and nature is not easy to find, wrote Antonella. Who knows how many people have happened to think, I would love to go there. The project we wish to carry out aims to make the Neviera Church more accessible for all by improving the signage along the surrounding routes and setting up an access ramp. From the minutes it's possible, as we can see next, the position in the map, a video, and some images. About the map item in the platform, we have the map with project categories. So we can select the category and the project, open the callout with elementary basic information about the project, and then tapping on the information test, we can launch the page of this project. How to submit a project? The user has to fill this email with a number of items. On the left, there is an help for the submitter. There is also a frequently asking questions to give direction on this kind of activity. And now we see a demo, a registered demo. This is the home page of the platform. And when we can choose to see all the projects, there are 3 projects, draft projects from the partners, and 1 project by the Institute. The others are only samples to see the opportunity offers by the platform. We are seeing now one project proposal from Taranto Reserves. As we know, the map, the project is located in Salina dei Monaci. We can choose other projects, and now we are seeing a draft proposal from Western Greece. There is also a video. And then we can choose a slideshow. Now we can go to the map to see other projects. Find Your Site is a draft project from Altamura National Park. There is also there a slideshow. And now we can see our proposal, our draft proposal about the stair replacement with a ramp wrote by Antonella. We have not done a video. It is very important to see the video, to make on the platform a video, because it is very important to collect donation. There is a form to give a volunteer if the project needs this kind of activity. We made how to make good crowdfunding videos instead of a video of the specific project, in order to give direction to the users to how produce a video for this kind of project. The problem is to find a balance with the multiple elements that the video has to illustrate. This is the location of Chiesetta Neviera, And then with the map, we can see a list of the projects. And for example, search for Vonitsa to see if there are proposals. There is also a draft proposal for a building in the area of the castle. Close the door. Here we can see how complex is to submit a project. There are a lot of topics to cover. And for each cover or for each item, there is an explanation and help on the left of the page. There is also a frequently asked question in order to give direction to the contents of the activity. Well, now we can see to the next item. I hope. Yes, Lighting on Platform presents sites and roads through an interactive map and cards with a wealth of images and inside text arranged by project partners, as well as virtual tours and 360-degree videos realized by our institute. Light on Platform has a main page from which it's possible to go on the platform of each partners. This is the Greek section of the platform. The presentation will use the menu items to show shortly the functionalities. Data are being provided by partners. Map allow users to explore areas, zooming and panning. Tapping on markers, related pages will be open. Nearby markers are clustered. Now we are seeing in the whole area of Western Greece and zooming on the area of Vonitsa, where I made the tests. I can tap on the path icon to have the path page related, or to tap on a site marker to see the site page. Paths allow user search for and filter routes by category, difficulty, and theme. Tapping on images, related pages are open. We are seeing a search with the text castle. We have 6 results where castle is present in paths, and I have chosen Vonitsa to give an example of paths page. Similarly, the site's menu item allow users search and or filter landmarks by type, subtype, and access. And as in previous example, tapping on images, related pages are open. The last menu item is attraction, which allows users to view the list of the best points of interest of each route. Tapping on images, related pages are open. And now we can see a demo of the platform. We start from National Altamura Park in Italy, in Italian language. To change the geographical base, change the language. Now we are in the English interface. And we are navigating in the map. We choose, for example, Chiesetta Neviera and see the related page with description and with the multimedia if available. Now we are viewing a virtual tour made from a drone and from the terrestrial view. Now we are seeing a three-dimensional model where we can see also measurements of what you will find useful. And this is the 360-degree videos, which allow users to see around when walking in the country. Now we can see to which path Chiesetta Neviera belongs. This is an interactive map to see altitude. And we can tap on network to change towards Taranto reserves. Here we make a test with search. We search for Torre, and we find three results. In this path, we have the description, the season, and the map and profile, as well as the attraction of this path, which is Torre Collimena. Also in this case, we have some multimedia, a beautiful view from a drone of the tower, and this is a view from the ground. This is the 360-degree video. We are walking on the ground and seeing around. It is possible to see a stereoscopic view if you have the right device. Now we can change on the Western Grace platform and start viewing the map. We choose to see only the path hike boat. There is a wonderful view from this path. This is the page of this path. Now we see the data about this path, its profile. We have 50 meters in the center of the bridge. And now we will see the attraction of this path, which is located on the middle of the bridge. About the sides, now we can see, we choose only hard path. There are 14 hard paths, I think, in the mountains. You can choose the first, for example. See the site page. Visit. It's viewable in the summer, and it's trip by car, 6,600 meters high. The sites belonging to this path, and now we can see a search for Lampeia, for example. we received 7 results, and now we can select filter by architecture category. So the results are 4. And if we select settlements, we will have only 1 result. As you know, this site belongs to the student context, is the first placement for the student context. This is the video winner, the winner video. Now we can see, searching around the map, the area of Vonitsa, and tapping on a marker, we will open the site page. In this case, we have only 1 multimedia. It is a video, a 360-degree video of a church near the sea. And the path belongings is the Vonitsa path. We can see data on a PDF document, as well as to download the GPX file to use on your device. This is the page in Greek language, and there is the list of attractions in Greek. We will see the Vonitsa Castle. And the PDF document. Finally, we are seeing the same consultation on smartphone for Italy, for the Italian platform on the right from Altamura Park, and for the Western Greece on the right. Beautiful, very beautiful archaeological and natural parks, sites in Greece. I know only few of them, but Olympia was very beautiful. Castle of Patras too. We are now moving to the end of this presentation. The Castle of Patras is 85 meters. Now we are showing a video done from Professor Papasso, as we know. My presentation logo is the the project is a tribute to the vestige of the Patras castle. And finally, I give a huge thank to Theo, Maria Giovanna, and Alessandro, and to all the Greek and Italian partners and colleagues for their contribution in the P.A.T.H project, to our director, Antonio Chiuzzi, Carmen Mirto, and Patrizia Barchetta, as well as our branch manager, Antonella Lerario, for their support, and to the Construction Technology Institute team for its great work. Project management, communication, crowdfunding, map and crowdfunding platforms, platform logos, survey and multimedia contents, technical support, administration are all the activities done by our institute. My professional path ends today with immense satisfaction for the result, I think the best achieved by my team. As a sign of respect and gratitude, I acknowledge and underline, sorry, but please see you the text. Without the work of Faye, Sofia Polimenao, and Sandra, Alexandra Soliuti, we would not be here talking about the P.A.T.H project. Without the tenacity and perseverance of Antonietta Varasano and the care and availability of Salvatore Capotorto, our communities would not have had the intriguing platforms developed. Thank you all for your time, and now enjoy your P.A.T.H.
Thank you very much, Mr. Magillaro. Your contribution was great to this project. Without you, we would not be able to manage anything. And of course, without your partners, I would like to try, if possible, to have a very brief presentation by Mr. Papandropoulos, who faced some difficulties, but we need to be very brief because we're behind schedule already. Good morning again. I hope you can hear me now. So, I don't know if my screen works, if I can share it. I want to share some lovely pictures. Okay, because this was a group effort, some of my pictures appeared already and the other presentation already shown, and they're on the platform. Because we cannot see the pictures now, but we can all see them from our couch on the platform. I would like to just say I would like to ask, especially the local authorities that are listening to us now, as I have been hiking for 3 decades, I see that the path, so what we're talking about now, the hiking, there are very few in the region of Western Greece. They are endangered by two things. So what is called progress, so being converted into roads, and by being abandoned. So they turn back into forests. So the local municipalities need to focus on these, because these will lead to quality tourism. Thank you very much for your attention. So we're going to move on to the Italian partners and to Mrs. Nicola, to the Mario Giovanni Delio from the Altamura about the actions of the Italian partners.
Sorry. Can you see the screen? Okay. Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Sandra, and all project partners. An important phase of the P.A.T.H project was the involvement of stakeholders in the project activity. This was possible thanks to the 4 community building events organized by each partner and the student contest in order to choose the winning point of interest of each partner. Below, some picture about the activity carried out by the Regional Natural Reserve of East Coast of Taranto. The reserve organized the community building activity with the school on May 2020, involving the expert on the biodiversity of reserve, and organized the meeting that are very, very important to involve in the project action the local operator and also the decision maker and the stakeholder. Another important phase was the student contest that was launched on 14 January 2021. In the left, you can see this report, that is a report on the itinerary with the content prepared by each partner and PB3. And on the right, you can see some articles about this activity. These are the prize chosen for this kind of activity. We consider in this period the current difficulty of the school and family for the emergency of COVID. And for this, we choose this kind of prize. The first prize is composed by 4 tablets. The second is a portable projector for the school. And this prize is composed by 50 T-shirts and 50 USB pens with the project visual identity. Then these are some pictures about the 10 itinerary valorized with the support of the stakeholder. Now I give the floor to Maria Giovanna Dell'Aglio, that is the project manager of the National Park of Altamura, in order to give you greetings.
Good morning to everyone. Before listening to Ms. Pinto, who will describe the activities carried out for this national park, I want to thank all the Greek and Italian project partners. P.A.T.H project was a great experience, not only for creating action and activities that give added value to our territories and allow better accessibility to our cultural and environmental heritage, but above all, it was an opportunity of exchange experiences, of enrichment of our knowledge, of involving local population, and for understanding how beautiful are our Greek and Italian territories. So I conclude and I greet you with the hope of future opportunities for cooperation. So I give the floor to Ms. Maria Antonietta Pinto. Thank you all, to Teo, Dionysios, Nicola, Alessandro, Antonella, Sandra, Luciana, Annabella, and our support group, Giovanni, Maria Antonietta, and Marco. Thank you all, and I give again the floor to Ms. Maria Antonietta.
Thank you, Maria Giovanna. Now I will show you some picture about the community building events organized by the National Park of Altamura. The first was in July 2020. Then you can see the second community building. For this second community building event, the National Park of Altamura organized with the support, this event with the support of the communicator manager for the program Greece Italy, Mrs. Carmela Sfregola, in occasion of the European Cooperation Day. In this occasion, the National Park of Altamura showed the itinerary implemented during and valorized during this project activity. Then ordered some picture of the day. As you can see by the central picture, thanks to the support of local stakeholder, the itinerary selected in the national park are valorized with material present on the itinerary in order to valorize the zones and the west present. This is the third community event organized by with the stakeholder in order to plan the activity of the itinerary. And this is the last the stakeholder meeting organized in 2019 on the itinerary valorized. Now you can see the student contest organized by the National Park of Altamura. The student contest is called Promoting My Aspring Geopark in order to create a representative logo of the geological heritage present in the National Park of Altamura, which will insert in the nomination of the park to UNESCO Geopark. This was possible also thanks to the Department of Earth Science and the Geoenvironment, University of Bari. On the left, also for the National Park of Altamura, you can see the leaflet prepared on the itinerary, the 13 itinerary valorizing the P.A.T.H project. And on the right, you can see some articles published on local and regional newspaper. The prize is the same for the Park of Reservoir, Natural Reservoir East Coast of Taranto, in order to support the school during this period. And here you can see the logo, the winner logo, did by the school of the National Park of Altamura. The second place and the third place, that are three beautiful logos of the area. Last Friday, on 26, the National Park of Altamura organized the day of our ceremony in order to involve and to discuss with the students that participate to this event. And here you can see some picture of the 13 itineraries by rides with the support of the stakeholder in order to sign the trail sign with as this picture, as you can see in this picture. And then this is the wheelchair purchase for the itinerary from the Park of Altamura. And then you can see the payload action presented by our colleague Marco D'Adamo. Thank you for your attention, and okay, I stop my presentation. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Maria Antonietta. We will now move on to the presentation of the pilot actions in the protected areas that implemented the disability-friendly actions. We will hear from Mrs. Antonietta Pinto again on the pilot actions.
I give the floor to my colleague Marco D'Adamo. This is the technical.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll try to. You see the presentation? See?
Non ancora, Marco.
No? Ok, try to. This way.
Ora sì. Vediamo lo schermo.
Ok. Now?
Sì.
Okay. Hello, I'm Marco Adamo. I'm a naturalist biologist, consultant of Studio Sigma, which in collaboration with the Patras of Orange and Chapter, realize many of the technical services provided by the P.A.T.H project in the Altamura National Park and in the regional natural reserve of P.A.T.H Tarantino. In particular today, I want to describe how we approach the deliverable of coordination, design, and accessible path intended for blind and visually impaired people. Specifically, I will talk to you about how with the same conceptual model...
Marco, hanno un problema tecnico, ci hanno chiesto con la traduzione, ci hanno chiesto di aspettare un secondo, scusi.
I wait. You are very close to your microphone. Okay. I try to. Now it's okay.
Dicono che sei troppo vicino al tuo microfono, non sentono bene le parole, non riescono a tradurre.
Now it's okay. Now? Okay, it's better. Okay, I repeat. Marco Adamo, I'm a naturalist biologist, consultant of Studio Sigma, which in collaboration with the partner of Orange and Jetma realize many of the technical services provided by the P.A.T.H project in Altamura National Park and in the regional natural reserve of Lighthouse of Patras. In particular today, I want to describe how we approached the deliverable of coordination, design, and accessible path intended for blind and visually impaired people. Specifically, I will talk to you about how, with the same conceptual model, thanks to the P.A.T.H Interact project and with the collaboration of the...
Marco, slow, please.
Slow. Of the management body of the two parts, we achieved the results of implementing, from an infrastructural and functional point of view, the services for the accessible tourism. Okay. The conceptual model, this is the conceptual model used. As a first step, the spatial analysis of the territory and its geophysical components, with the aim of finding the best physical and environmental conditions to ensure the accessibility of the routes.
Scusa Marco, continuano a dire che il traduttore non riesce a capire, se puoi avvicinare il microfono alla bocca e parlare un po' più piano, se vuoi...
Non lo so. Devo alzare o abbassare?
Devi avvicinarti al microfono, parlare più piano e più ad alta voce.
Più piano e più ad alta voce. Adesso, now, provo, adesso. The comparison with the stakeholder to evaluate among all the hypotheses identified in the first step, those considered best by the stakeholder due to the presence of facilities, services available, etc. On the basis of the information obtained from the spatial analysis and from the comparison with the stakeholders in the first step, we proceeded to design the path by identifying the best technical solution and equipment to meet the request of the stakeholder in the area. The last step involved the creation of the path and the purchase of equipment. Okay. Now. Okay. The spatial analysis was carried out within a G software that allowed the analysis of the digital terrain model and the creation of the thematic map for the slopes. This information layer was essential for identifying the most accessible route, especially in Altamura Park, which highlights a greater geomorphological complexity than the reserve of Tarantino coast. Again, with the GIS, the layer of the habitats and those of the cultural heritage constraints were also spatialized, which made it possible to identify the paths that best represent the complexity of the territory and its naturalistic and cultural peculiarities. In this phase of the conceptual model, the results of the spatial analysis were presented to the stakeholders of the area, such as the park authority, disabled association, natural guides. Together with them, inspection have also been carried out on the territory, and the routes for accessible tourism have been chosen. Among the 13 paths identified as a part of the P.A.T.H project, in collaboration with the management body of the Altamura National Park, and on the basis of the information acquired in the field and with stakeholders, has chosen to direct the planning activities of the path intended to the people with visual and motor disabilities on the track called Bosco di Scoparello, Dolina Trepaduli, and Eremo di Sant'Antonio, 3 paths. The routes have been identified as object of this design, and they are characterized by the following characteristics: absence of significant slopes, absence of vehicular traffic, as the roads themselves develop on ship tracks, presence of service for tourists, facilities, toilet, food area, etc. Among 10 paths identified as a part of the P.A.T.H project, in collaboration with the management body of Litorale Tarantino, and on the basis of the information acquired in the field and by stakeholders, has chosen to direct the design activities on the route for people with visual and motor disabilities on the path called Sentiero dei Fenicotteri e Sentiero dell'Orto Botanico, 2 paths. The routes have been identified as the object of this design, and they are characterized by the following characteristics: absence of significant slopes, absence of vehicular traffic, as the route themselves developed on ship tracks. On the basis of the need expressed by the stakeholder, okay, we are now in Altamura Park. On the basis of the needs expressed by the stakeholders, the result of the territory spatial analysis, and finally, the different needs of the two natural parks, 2 different projects were developed, one for each park. The project for Altamura on the Dolina Trepaduli path involves the design and construction of a path for the blind, through infrastructure work on the park, leveling the bottom, and a roof and rail on wooden poles. In the slide, you can see the plan of the project where all the interventions are indicated. Among the most important interventions of the project, there are the ground preparation works. In this photo, you can see how the stone along the path make it difficult for the blind to walk near the fence, where the roof and rail will be mounted. The project involves the leveling of the path and the construction of a small track dedicated to the blind that will be adjacent to the fence. The second important activity concerns the crossing of the path, which, for functional reason, cannot be affected by the realization of the handrail. In the second photo, in the bottom, you can see one of these crossings. The project involves the construction of a small excavation and the positioning of a wooden walkway. This change of background, appropriately marked with the braille panels at the start of the path, will allow the blind person not to take the wrong direction, to continue along the path in the safest way, leading him to meet the handrail at the point closest to him. After a long phase
of survey and multimedia contents, technical support, administration.
Yes. Nicola, okay. After a long phase of acquiring the authorization required by law, the works are begun and will be concluded according to the provision of the project schedule. Okay, this wheelchair is equipped. The project carried out for the Altamura Park also included the purchase of the Jolette. The Jolette is a mountain wheelchair that allows people with disabilities or reduced mobility to be transported by at least two companions along mountain paths for walks, excursion trips, or trekking, thus reaching places otherwise inaccessible with a wheelchair. This wheelchair is equipped with a central wheel that rests on the ground, a structure with a seat on which the transported people can sit, and three mechanical arms, two front and one rear, for accompanying persons, which ensure traction, directions, and balance. The path of Altamura Park are characterized by the presence of stony pastures full on wheels and dirt roads. For this reason, in agreement with the park and its guides, the project envisaged the purchase of the Jolette to implement the path services related to accessibility. In the first image on the slide, you can see the Jolette from the Altamura Park, both thanks to the economic research of the resource of the path project. In the second image, taken from the official Jolette website, you can see this chair being used. Unfortunately, the virus did not allow us to test it on the ground, but I'm sure we won't wait long. Okay. Infrastructure intervention has been planned for both parts of the regional natural reserve of Litorale Tarantino. The project have no problem with slopes and accessibility involved in the design, subtly and installation of information panels in braille language, one for each point of interest along the route. In the slide, the map is highlighted with the location of the panels in both paths. This work was carried out through numerous surveys in the field and with the acquisition via GPS of the geographical coordinates of the various points. A careful market analysis was carried out, which led to the choice of tactical panels for blind people with a plastic structure. The dimensions chosen were of two types. Three with dimension of 90 centimeters for 60 centimeters to be placed at the entrances of the path, the start and the finish of the path. Okay. Number 13 with dimension of 50 centimeters for 40 centimeters to be positioned along the path near the point of interest. On the slide, there are pictures of some of these panels prepared for the project. In this last slide, I show the final result with the image of one of these tactical panels. The play part is very difficult to see, but believe me, it exists. The other image, on the other hand, show the chosen model of the wooden lectern on which these tactile panels will be placed. I end my presentation. I hope you are not bored. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bergano. We'll now move on to the region of Western Greece and Mr. Carvella, who is going to talk about the actions in the framework of the programme. Mr. Carvelis, we can see your screen. Good morning to everyone. Buongiorno to our Italian colleagues. As you heard earlier on, the region of Western Greece participated in all stages of the programme and all deliverables. In our final presentation, obviously the deliverable of the PATH programme was the platform on the hiking, 34 hiking trails in Greece and others in Italy. It's a milestone project, and it will be later enriched, used and managed by stakeholders. But apart from this great deliverable, we also had other actions that I will try to highlight. So we've already heard about some stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it. As we said, this was the platform was based on interactive maps. We're going to move on to other actions implemented by the region of Western Greece, such as events organized, 12 events on the design of the project, so that we could get feedback by local authorities on what we should be paying attention to in designing the hiking routes and in selecting the points of interest. If the action had to do with student contest. Then the implementation of the campaign for us Greeks, because in Italy it was undertaken by Mr. Malero. Then we had the organization of Walk the Route and organization of 3 seminars for authorities designing trails and alternative tourism routes. The first action was 12 events for building community spirit to have a cohesive team that would offer proposals on what to include in the platform on hiking routes. These events were held in Etolo-Carnarnia. We had 4 in each regional unit of Western Greece, 4 in Etolo-Carnarnia, Achaia, Ilia. This was helped a lot by our lead partner, the P.A.T.H of Western Greece, which organized these events in Achaia and Ilia, and we continued with Etolo-Carnarnia. In these events, we saw a great interest by people engaged in hiking and alternative tourism. We heard a lot of views and proposals, and what our main conclusion was that it's going to be a very useful tool. It's something that we don't have in Western Greece. The platform is going to put the Western Greece on the map and high up in the searches for potential visitors to the area. And people stressed the need and the usefulness of this tool when the project finishes to continue being managed and enriched. This responsibility lies with us mainly and with the lead partner on the Greek side. We take this seriously. We've started talks with Mr. Caberos to see in what way and with what authorities and what stakeholders we can manage this project. Another action, and we had something similar in Italy, was the organization of a student contest to highlight points of interest in areas where student communities are active. Holding a student contest came at a very difficult time for Greece and for Italy due to the lockdown and COVID. So it was to start last spring, but schools were closed. We managed in a short time frame for 2 months in September and October to implement this contest. We were supported by the local educational authorities and its head, Mr. Giannopoulos. We were also supported by the Regional Design Center of Western Greece, and my warm thanks go to Mrs. Papaioannou, who is the head for environmental management and the secondary educational directorate of Achaia, and she coordinated all the efforts. The contest was held. It was very successful actually for us. I mean, we had 30 schools participating that created 30 videos promoting their areas. Taken note that the participation of each school had a team of 4 students, so more than 100 students were involved in this. The evaluation committee watching these videos, the evaluation committee was Mr. Fafoudis, a well-known director, Mr. Logaraz, a famous literature expert and author, Mrs. Christopoulou, and the partner of the region of Western Greece, Mrs. Petreioanna. So the contest results were that the first place went to the secondary school of Labera. They made a video on their village. The second place went to the first seniors high school of Aegio for a video on Vuraikos Gorge, and the third went to Etolokarnania and Ancient Calidona. We are going to give prizes out to students. We have selected prizes to give to the 3 top winners. So to these 12 students, we are going to give tablets, cameras, and smartwatches. We haven't held the award ceremony. This ceremony will be held. We want to cover it live. We want to invite everyone to be here in Patras. So we're waiting for the measures to be eased so that we can manage to have a live meeting and to award the prizes to the students. And we want to have the students here because we saw that the participation of students boosts their interest in the region, give them a motive to look into the values of these areas and the value of promoting this region to other people. So the area where they live, we want students acting as ambassadors of their areas. That we want them to know how to use new technologies. We might give them, in this ceremony, we might give them information about how to use technology to digitally promote their area and to reach a wide audience. And obviously the ultimate aim of this student contest for the school awarded the first prize to be suggested as a point in the crowdfunding platform for possible funding through the crowdfunding platform. So the Lampira High School has proposed for all money that comes in through the crowdfunding platform to be used to buy electronic equipment that will be used in such actions, so that students can learn about their area digitally and to create material to promote it. As we said, after the end of the program, we are responsible for continuing the campaign in order to activate possible sponsors through the crowdfunding platform to collect the funds needed to fund this action of the school. But we're going to have more actions. This is just a pilot action for that school, but then we will have many other points of interest if we see that this goes well. So we will continue to organize the crowdfunding campaign to attract more sponsors. We also organized 3 seminars, one in each regional units of Western Greece, Etolokarnania, Achaia and Ilia, addressed to policymakers for tourism and alternative tourism. So we had specialized seminars presenting the platform and all the platform functions and the material that can be hosted on the platform. We provided information on new online ways to market their local tourist product, aiming for these policy makers to create and promote new sustainable tourism models. These meetings also proved a need to continue this program. It seems that it's one of the few Interreg programs that will continue, and its evaluation will continue after the end of the program to see in practice how these great tools created will continue to be used and for a long time after the end of the program. And this actually provided the tools. We now have to use them to manage to achieve added value for our area. The last action we had undertaken, which obviously was affected by the restrictions, it was called Walk the Route, so walking along one of the routes. The aim of this route was to select a route together with Italian and Greek partners and public authorities and the public to follow one of these 34 routes and to see how all these technologies can be used in situ through mobile phones, with QR codes, with the GPS. And this would be like a pilot action and like a presentation of what we had been doing. But COVID came along, so this action is postponed. But for now it will be done electronically. So the route we will follow online is in the city of Patras. And city routes are also of interest. They're significant for pedestrians and for people walking as well. And a city route can reveal elements of the history of the place, the social and financial development, the political development of an area. So this route and this online presentation of the route was implemented with the help of the Archaeological Inspectorate of Western Greece and Mrs. Koumouti. I would like to thank Mrs. Georgia Manolopoulou, who works at the Museum of Patras, who curated the video you will see, and the narration in English. We need to present this Walk the Route. Alexandra will now present the virtual tour of this route. Alexandra, can we watch the video? Yes, thank you very much. We're now going to watch the video. And then, after the video, we'll show another 2 short videos on the actions of the partners. Let's move on to the video.
Welcome to the city of Patras. Patras is more than a city. It is a Mediterranean port, a route, a path where different cultures, people, ideas and artifacts have existed more than 3,000 years. Patra has continuously been a cosmopolitan center with a multinational character and a great commercial and cultural activity. Patra's important geographical location as a portal from the east to west has determined its history. Moreover, the vast panoramic views sprawling out into the horizon adds to the beauty of Patra as well as reveal more of its character. Let's start our walk the route in the city of Patras. a living cultural path through history, stories, monuments and artifacts, through a cultural network entitled Museum Patras Monument, curated by the FR8 of Antiquities of Achaia, Ministry of Culture, for the celebration of the European Year of Cultural Heritage. Our walk the route will start from the castle, located at its highest point with a magnificent view of the city. During the early Byzantine period, 4th-6th century AD, Patra continues to be a cosmopolitan city, even after having a prosperous period as a Roman colony. The castle of Patras is located at the foot of the mountain Panachikos. It was built in the 6th century AD by the Byzantine Emperor Justinian, using building materials from the ancient Acropolis of the city, which had been previously destroyed by a powerful earthquake. The castle was besieged and occupied by different conquerors, such as the slaves and Saracen pirates, knights, Venetians and the Ottomans. All conquerors made modifications related to their respective demands. The castle was liberated after the Greek War of Independence with the help of the French General Mason in 1828. It has been under the protection of the Ministry of Culture and Sports for the last decades. The castle provides visitors a unique historical experience. In the surrounding area of the castle, a great Roman mosaic floor was found, illustrating Medusa's head. A large collection of Roman mosaic floors from the center of the city is exhibited at the Archaeological Museum of Patras. Back to the Roman period in Patras, the Roman aqueduct was probably built under the Roman Emperor Hadrian in the 2nd century AD due to an increase in the city's population. This important public building is a large-scale construction which supplied the city with water. The transport of water was carried out with pipes, above ground and underground bridges running along a series of archways. The best preserved part of the monument's bridge has a height of 14 meters. Nowadays, the Roman aqueduct is an archaeological site that one can visit and learn about its history. In 2006, during the construction of the peripheral road, a medieval aqueduct was discovered near the Roman one. The monument was built between 15th and 16th century AD and until that time was completely unknown and buried. Due to the unsuitability of its location and the urgent need to continue the road works, a big part of the medieval monument was moved a short distance close to the Roman aqueduct in order to be better preserved, promoted and visitable. The archaeological site has been open to the public since 2017. Our cultural route continues with the old Municipal Hospital, which was founded in Patras in 1857 under the plan of the Danish architect Christian Hansen. It was one of the biggest hospitals in Greece during that period and operated for more than 100 years from 1872 until 1973. Nowadays, it hosts the Museum of Folk Art, workshops, festivals and exhibitions under the cultural organization of the Municipality of Patras. The current Orthodox Church of the Pantocrator in Patras is a Byzantine-type cathedral. During the Venetian period, Francesco Morosini renamed it as the San Marco Cathedral, and during the Ottoman period, it was transformed into a mosque, a place of worship for Muslims. In the same area, an excavation of 52 tombs brought to light one of the earliest cemeteries of the Christian period, around 3rd century AD. After the liberation of Patras in 1828, it returned to be again a sacred Orthodox temple. According to Pausanias, Patras Odeon was the most stunning Odeon in Greece after the Odeon of Herodotus Atticus in Athens. It was probably built in the 2nd century AD. In 1889, a surprising discovery occurred during excavations to transfer material to the old port of Patras. Its restoration was completed many years later with the contribution of architect Vasilis. It comprises the basic part of the theatre: the kilo, the orchestra, the scene, and the so-called parody. Its architectural structure is identical to the Odeon of Herodotus, but on a smaller scale. During the Roman period, music events and performances took place there. Today is a popular cultural site in Patras, where festivals, concerts, and theatre take place. Next to the Roman Odeon is St. George Square, where it is said that the flag of the Greek War of Independence was raised by the fighters of Achaia 200 years ago in 1821. On the south side of the square, neoclassical type monuments were built by wealthy merchants of the 19th century. Also, during the Roman period, in the same area, the so-called ville urbane were built. An example of this typical Roman luxury townhouse in Patras was found in Germanou Street and today can be seen at the Archaeological Museum. Close to the Roman Odeon, in the heart of the city, one can see part of the Roman Stadium, an important public building for city's entertainment. It was built during the Roman period between the 1st and 2nd century AD. The stadium is partly rebuilt and was the venue for various athletic and artistic events, among them the so-called Caesaria, which were spectacles performances for the empire. Certain archaeological findings confirm that gladiators' battles were also held there. Pausanias does not mention the word stadium, but the word theatre. The discovery of a statue of Nemesis near the ruins of Stadium raises the possibility of a temple dedicated to the goddess Nemesis, the personification of justice. Both the Roman Odeon and Stadium and a series of finds such as theatre masks, mosaics, musical instruments are now part of the permanent collection of the Archaeological Museum of Patras and are evidence of the long-lasting musical and theatrical tradition of the city for over 2,000 years. A multicolored mosaic floor from the permanent exhibition collections of the museum illustrates the artistic and athletic contests that were held in Patras during the Roman period. Entertainment has always played a vital role in the life of the citizens of Patras. Attached to the Roman Stadium is the Church of Padanessa, built in 1847 on a small church dedicated to Madonna that pre-existed. The name of the church is due to the finding of the icon of the Virgin of Padanessa, which according to tradition is said to have been found in a special crypt in the basement of the temple. The design of the church has obviously neoclassical influences. Since 1996, it has been a protected monument by the Ministry of Culture, as the church is considered to be a great model of modern architecture. The central square of Patras is named after King George and was created during the 19th century under the governance of Ioannis Kapodistrias and the city plan was made by Stamatis Voulgaris. Their vision was to rebuild and transform the center of Patras. The plan included the development of the new city next to the old one that had been destroyed during the Greek War of Independence. In 1875, two magnificent fountains were placed as monuments. The neoclassical theatre named Apollona is situated in the same square. The public building of the Apollon Theatre in the square is a work by the famous German architect Ernest Tiller, a great designer of royal and municipal buildings in many Greek cities during 19th century. Made of stone from Trieste, railings from England, statues from Vienna and marble from Livorno and the Ionian Islands, it is a small-scale copy of the Scala in Milano. It is a great monument of Patras and a characteristic example of the neoclassical architecture of the city. Its colors and decorative elements are inspired by antiquity. In 1872, it was accomplished through crowdfunding by the citizens of Patras. The imposing neoclassical building, which originally belonged to the wealthy family of the resin merchant Ioannis Makrigiannis, has been the city hall of Patras since 1897. Inside the building there are many works of art by the native painter Epaminondas Thomopoulos, who drew his inspiration from the rich history of the city. The Courthouse of Patras is a beautiful neoclassical monument in the heart of the city. It has been recently renovated, and a small archaeological exhibition inside the courthouse was inaugurated with copies on findings and artifacts from the Archaeological Museum. The old church of St. Andrew was built between the years 1836 to 1843 on a part of a Roman public building. It is a three-aisled basilica and the work of the architect Lysandros Kaftagioglu. The new Cathedral of the St. Andrew was founded in 1908. It is a green Byzantine-style church, a place for Christians from all over the world, an important landmark of Patras, and the largest church in Greece. Kostis Palamas, the famous poet of the Olympic anthem of Olympic Games, was born in Patras in 1859. His house is a well-preserved neoclassical monument in the central part of the city, where the Italian novelist Matilde Serao was also born. The Minister of Culture declared it as a historical monument in 1983. It is an architecturally remarkable two-story building with a simple neoclassical form and an interesting arch on the ground floor. Recently, it has been transformed into a cultural center, Kostis Palamas, and it is open to the public. The Metropolitan Cathedral, Evagilistria, is one of the first public buildings in the new city after the liberation of Patras from the Ottoman Empire in 1828. The church is classified as a neoclassical building of Belle Epoque. The church was founded in 1842 and inaugurated in 1846. The structure of the roof, made of wood of Trieste and Venice, was said to be prepared by Ernest Schiller. During the 19th century, there was an increase in the Catholic population of Patras due to its commercial and cultural activity. Foreign diplomats, merchants, Italian fishermen and Maltese lived in the city. The ever-increasing number of people during that period required the construction of this beautiful Catholic church, the foundation stone of which was laid in 1838 and was completely rebuilt in 1937. The Lighthouse of Patras is in the north part of the city. The lighthouse is an ambassador of the city's cultural heritage. It is considered as a landmark that highlights the Mediterranean character of the city and a very significant port with an important naval cultural identity. The lighthouse is a copy of the original lighthouse built in 1858 and is now a new monument of the city. The Archaeological Museum of Patras is a public museum directed by the F.A.T.H of Antiquities of Achaia, Ministry of Culture and Sports. Its collections are rich in Mycenaean and Roman antiquities, highlighted by the emblematic collections of mosaics and glass, the largest in Greece. With the mosaic collection taking center stage, a very spacious and modern building of innovative design was built in 2009 in order to host and promote those unique finds. During the last years, the Archaeological Museum of Patras has been trying to develop a coordinating strategy in order to make its collections more accessible to the public and engage demanding target groups of visitors.
We're going to move on to the two short videos by our Italian partners, and then we'll have a very quick speech by Mr. Vasilis.
La piana di San Magno, Masseria San Magno. La masseria San Magno è di proprietà della famiglia
Masseria San Magno. Masseria San Magno has been owned by the Cimadomo family since 17... Torre disperata.
Torre disperata. Lungo il percorso, guardando verso sud, si può ammirare l'area più alta. Bosco Cuturi. Il Bosco dei Cuturi è parte integrante delle riserve naturali
Bosco Cuturi. The woods at Cuturi are an intrinsic part of the nature reserves, in addition to Masseria Li Castelli. Masseria di Castelli. Masseria di Castelli è una masseria che sorge ai piedi dell'omonimo.
Could move on to Mr. Carvelis. After the end of the presentation, I want to extend my thanks to all partners. It was a best practice of collaboration between the Italian and the Greek partners, so I would like to extend my warm thanks to them and to the members of the region of Western Greece who work on the P.A.T.H project, Mr. Karagiannis, Mr. Zamaloukas. I would like to warmly thank Mrs. Ioanna Terhi and the two ladies who worked on the technical and the administrative part of the project. Thank you. Thank you. We can now call Mrs. Maria Antonietta Tapino to the floor.
Thanks, Sandra. Only one information about these two applications carried out by the Italian partner. The aim is to promote the itinerary produced in the frame of the P.A.T.H project, and it is possible to download these two applications by Android App Store and also from iOS App Store. And also in the same frame, we will share this link of these two applications on the official website of the project partner and the official website of the project. And this is very useful because along the itinerary valorized, the Italian partner put the panel with the QR code in Italian and English information with the map, some picture, and all the thing produced in the frame of the project partner. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you all.
So we are going to move on with the next session. We're going to hear a few things from the digital marketing specialist, Mrs. Fotopoulou. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting me once again to talk about this fantastic project you've undertaken. I'm going to share my screen so that we can see. My presentation is very brief. I was told that I need to finish in 10 minutes. So what I want to talk about, we can see this here, 3 different things. We have created a strong platform technologically. It's very data rich and content rich for end users. So these types of platforms are very important because they can provide a lot of information to users directly in a single point of entry. And we need now to promote this, to manage to make this widely known. And how can we find this wide audience? In a nutshell, through the internet. We can use the internet to very quickly and at a very low cost and very easily to find lots of people, to promote the platform to them and to let them use it directly. So 3 different aspects. The first is the power of data in marketing. So, for example, Facebook in Greece is used, and these are demographics provided by the Facebook platform itself. It's used by 5 to 6 million people a month. So there are about 11 million people living in Greece. There are people over 70s who don't have access to the internet, and then there are children below the age of 10 years old. So essentially, the Facebook platform is used by all active adults using the Facebook platform almost every day. So 48% is women, 52% is men. And how can we advertise to these people? The answer is by knowing exactly what our ideal audience needs and what our ideal audience is. To give you an example, because there are many sub-products of the ideal client, shall we say, the ideal user of the platform, I will give you an example of about the mountains. There's about 1.5 million people in Greece every month who search on the internet for hiking, mountain biking, tours on the mountains, holidays on the mountains. So these people, if we manage through the Facebook platform to target them very specifically at a very low cost, we will manage to get all these people across Greece to download the platform and to follow the routes we propose. This is a small example of how the internet, if we use it correctly, how it can help us to make this platform very well known and popular. So the one thing is the power of data in marketing. We're not going to go out there and just spend endless money on marketing. We need to narrow it down, and the people who are responsible for the campaigns of the platform, we need to use specific templates to find our audience, their gender, their age range, their interests, and to target this audience to use our platform. This is the first part. The second part is the golden circle. I always stress this. When we want to have targeted marketing to end up with sales, someone to use the platform, to register with the platform so that we can get their email and promote other things, is the golden circle. Why, how, what? And here we always give the example of Hewlett-Packard and Apple. Hewlett-Packard is a very successful electronics company, computer company. Every time it starts advertising, it says, we create computers using 16-core processors because we believe it's very important to have tools that are very powerful for your job. What does this tell us? It tells us exactly what this company does, how it does it, and why it does it. But a few years ago, a man came along and he was called Steve Jobs. He had a company called Apple. And these people radically changed the way in which we advertise and the way in which we perceive advertising and marketing. So they started saying their advert started on the why and ending with the what. We believe in doing things differently because every person out there is different, and you are worth the best. This is why we use 16-core processors to build the strongest computers for your work. So we see, instead of talking about the platform we built, we might love it, we're very proud about it, we know how much effort we've put into it, But instead of going out there to the ideal audience and go and talk to them about the platform directly, we need to talk to them about what's in it for them. Why do they want to go to a mountain? What's the competitive advantage for them? What is the competitive advantage offered by our platform? Because nobody buys the things we buy, all of us, and myself included, but all of us, almost all people, the reason, the why we buy things, it's usually how this thing we buy makes us feel, not because we actually need it. Because otherwise we would have 6 glasses and not 30. We would have 3 t-shirts, 2 pairs of trousers. But we think we buy things because of the way they make us feel. So it's the same process with this platform. We use this platform because of how its use makes us feel. This is the golden circle. So we start with a why, what triggers people. Instead of telling them, you know, in articles and adverts, whatever, that we made a platform using the cutting edge technology so that you can use routes on your own and go hiking on your own. But we can use the why by saying, imagine how great you feel after a day outdoors for this reason, and wanting to present how beautiful the region of Western Greece is, we used cutting-edge technology to build a platform so that you can visit these trails alone in nature. You see the difference. The third part is the trust approach. And here I will give you an interesting example with, for example, a chemist. Imagine now we close everything, you log into Facebook, and in your home page in the feed, you're looking at the posts, and you see an advert that says Aretousa, Papadopoulou, dentist, 20% off your first tooth filling. Would you click on this advert even if you had a toothache? Would you use this advert? No, because it's a very personalized service, and health is a very important service. You would call your mom to recommend a dentist. You would go to someone you know. This advert cannot be used because there is no trust to be able to visit this dentist. Yeah. But if the dentist had a different approach to advertising, and she tried first to train you in a way, then the trust that would have been created even online would make you want to go to that dentist every time. So a 20% discount ad does not work, and I know because we've seen it as a case study, and we've made it work in my digital agency. What we did to help the dentist, Mrs. Papadopoulou, to find clients, I mean, she was a very good dentist. What we did was, Mrs. Aretousa was a doctor, yeah? So we said, focus out of being a dentist, and we need to focus out of paths and mountains and zoom out. Mrs. Papadopoulou saw that she needs to kind of see the larger picture of being a doctor. So we need to look at the larger picture of alternative tourism, and we try to find a kind of pain that these people experience that could perhaps need a doctor. So from Mrs. Papadopoulou. So we wrote about the most common source of pain of people. So headache. 5 reasons why you can have a headache and why this is important. The 5th reason is because you brush your teeth while you're sleeping, and so the doctors wrote underneath, if you've read all this and you find it interesting, have a 20% discount to come to my surgery to see if you're brushing your teeth correctly. So with 40 euros, 120 people accepted her invitation because they had built trust through reading this article, and they visited her dentistry, and from these 120 people, 40 people became standing clients. So instead of talking exclusively about our platform, and instead of wanting people to trust it on their own, we need to create, through marketing campaigns, a feeling of trust and a feeling of value given to these people in advance, to have effective advertising, and to manage to make the broader audience see this great campaign. We have created this great platform because, as we had said with Mr. Cabedos, the program is just starting. This is when we need to get people to bring the beauties of a region. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Papadopoulos. We're going to move on to 2 quick presentations. One from the University of Patras and one from the region of Western Greece. They're going to talk about the prospects for synergies between the P.A.T.H project and other projects. So first, Mr. Kokinos from the University of Patras. Good afternoon. I'm going to keep it short. So before I start, and based on what I've seen so far, I would like to congratulate the P.A.T.H project team because it quickly managed, in difficult lockdown conditions, to complete all the project actions, and congratulations are due because in our project we had the opportunity to create some tourist routes, and it was during the first lockdown. There was no way to visit the places and to film the videos. So congratulations. I would like to thank Mr. Caberos, Mrs. Petri and Mrs. Papaspirou for the region of Western Greece for inviting me to present the Inherit project at your conference. The Inherit project deals with utilizing opportunities for the coastal culture of the Mediterranean. There are some common features with the P.A.T.H project, but to get the full picture and the full benefits of both programs, we should have synergies between them. Very quickly, I'm going to present some facts and figures about the Inherit project. It's an Interreg Med program. It's part of the Sustainable Tourism Axis under specific objective 3.1. It started in February 2018 and it's going to end in 2022, so about 48 months if it's not extended due to the lockdown. We have 15 partners from all 10 Med countries with a budget of 5.6 million euros. The lead partner is the region of the Peloponnese. As I said, the joint venture includes partners from all 10 Mediterranean countries. We see here the European Mediterranean as all the countries participate. So the challenge we faced when we submitted the application form for the project, given that the natural heritage of coastal and maritime natural heritage is a joint asset, and based on the fact that this natural heritage feels great stress mainly due to seasonality and the overcapacity of tourism, this was the initial trigger based on which we submitted our application, and we saw that there were additional challenges that endanger natural heritage, such as waste generation, resource depletion, desertification, and biodiversity loss. Taking into account these threats, the vision of Inherit was to conserve and valorize natural heritage in coastal and maritime tourist destinations. So we want to alleviate these destinations without cutting off tourism. So the program develops a new approach with a new mix of measures with bottom-up initiatives. So initiatives that start either from citizens or municipalities, they aim always to protect natural heritage, and a strategy of transnational collaboration for the creation of a network of region, which in line with a Natura, similarly to Natura areas, are actually regions where natural heritage coexists with great tourist flows. So the target groups of the program are national, regional, local public authorities, the private sector, some tourism agencies and service providers in tourism, international organizations such as UNESCO, and of course the general public of the regions participating in the program. Now, very quickly, the work packages of the program, given that Inherit is an integrated project which has all the modules allowed by the Interreg Med program, we see here that in work package 3 on the studying, we have some studies already published, and we are now in work package 4, which concerns testing. We have a lot of pilot tests, and the aim of this work package is to define the first inheritura, the 5 first inheritura areas, and then we have work package 3, the capitalizing module, which includes work packages 5 and 6. We have now finished work package 4, and we have the pilot tests of the program. The main target of this work package is to define the 5 first inheritura areas. These are regions with tourism and natural heritage, and tourist development is enhanced through bottom-up approaches. According to Interreg Med, these areas have to be in coastal regions, so in these areas we need to have a coastline, and most of the citizens must live in under 50 kilometers from the sea. So these areas can apply for an inheritura label. The application, as we see here, consists of 16 criteria classified in 4 categories: environmental management and protection measures, valorizations and promotional activities, governance and strategic planning, and education and awareness activities. I don't know if you can see this in very quickly here. To apply for an inheritura label, has 5 steps. In the first, the region has to fill in the application form, which should include the documentary material that explains why all criteria are met. Then the form has to be submitted with its attachments. Then the Inheritura Committee, which consists of 15 members, 1 from each project partner, evaluates the application and looks to see if it complies with the 16 criteria. It announces the result, and if some clarification or information is needed, it requests this from the applying region, and if it's approved, the region is given an Inheritura label. For the University of Patras and the region of Western Greece, the candidate Inheritura area is the Helmos Vouraikos Geopark. Now, as part of the pilot tests, we have designed 6 paths for alternative tourism. I have added the links where you can find the brochure for this deliverable, which is available in English and Greek, and the maps, as well as 10 short videos we created. Finally, because as I said, we have created some routes, we should say that Inherit and Path are not the same project, but they are complementary. We did not develop a platform, and these alternative paths we have created are only available in the brochure and the 10 videos. But we could add this material to the platform of the Path project. We would be very happy to do it. And I believe that it would give extra, it would provide extra advertising to our routes as well. We have added the project details. You can follow us on social media, and obviously we would like to see you in our project's next events. Thank you very much. We will move on with Mrs. Ladevo from the region of Western Greece. Yeah. Good afternoon. Congratulations to all the project partners. I'm going to be very brief, and I will focus on what collaboration we can have. Saya Novadex, which the region of Western Greece is the lead partner. I'm going to share my screen. So that you can see the project page where you can search for more information. So the aim of this project is to map and record and process visitor satisfaction using technologically advanced information systems. These systems have been created by the partner, the Greek partner, the University of Patras, the IT and computer engineering department, and we have a collaboration with various other areas from Greece and Italy. So they made the University of Patras made this platform where we have collected, with the help of our partners, various points of interest for visitors. These points of interest might be fixed venues such as museums, monasteries, ski resorts, or can also be things like festivals, fairs, celebrations. So this is where we could collaborate. In our program, we don't have any routes like P.A.T.H, so we could collaborate via the two platforms. And through this collaboration, we could offer visitors to the area a more comprehensive tourist experience. We wish for this project, this finishes in the summer. We would like to see it continue after that, to be able to use this innovative tool, which could help tourism both at the level of the humans involved in tourism. So the pilot areas we have in Western Greece are Kalavrita and Western Greece, but through this tool we can create results that can be used for strategy planning. So we can have a great collaboration with P.A.T.H and other programs. But we need to continue working to boost tourism in Western Greece. I was very brief, thank you very much. We're already behind schedule. I can forward a presentation that I did not use if you want, for anyone who would like more details. Thank you very much. We'll have a quick note from Mr. Kaponis, the development consultant of P.A.T.H. And you know, you should also say she's also an explorer. So he is also an explorer. So the Demosthenes is a bit of an explorer. He helped us on the on-site visits. Yes, okay. It's all nice and good working at the office, but we need to go out there sometimes. Yes, my participation in taking the photographs was a very new experience for me, because I discovered that I have much greater endurance than I thought. Thank you. Now, as regards the program, I would like to say that yes, okay, the program essentially formally finishes today, but this opens up new room for work for the regions represented here as regards our tourist development, which is definitely a benefit. But as regards future synergies with our Italian partners, I'd like to thank them, and with our colleagues from the region of Western Greece. Through this program, which, as far as I know, we had many difficulties and challenges, but in the end, we forged collaborations, we forged relationships that will allow us to move on in the future to other levels of collaboration. So I would like to thank all the Italian partners. I would like to thank all the people from the region of Western Greece, headed by Mr. Karvelis, who I had the opportunity and honor to work with in the organization and implementation of the seminars in Ettolo Akarnania, and all the external collaborators that I worked with. One of them for One of these was Mr. Papandropoulos. We worked a lot on taking the photographs. Finally, I would like to thank the mastermind of the program, shall we say, my friend and colleague, Theodoros Kaberos. Theodoros, I always hope you head such efforts that are useful for local authorities and for societies. I would like to thank all representatives of the municipalities from Etolokarnania and the partners from data consultants with which we collaborated. I hope I haven't forgotten everyone. Thank you very much. I hope that we will meet together healthy, up and standing in a similar effort. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to say anything else? I would like to say something. First of all, the mayor, Mr. Konstantaras, watched almost the entire seminar. Sorry, it's a difficult day, but we wanted to attend everything. I heard everything. I would like to congratulate you. We are friends with Demosthenes, and I know how well he works, and we are going to work together with Mr. Kaberos as well. I would like to briefly say, because I know we're behind schedule, that the municipality of Thermos, especially in alternative tourism, we have a lot of room for development. Up until now, we didn't do much work. This could be a great advantage because we can now direct things any way we like. In 2018, we have established through nationwide action an astrophysics and astrophotography action on a hill, Drimonas, in a forest. So there we had the nationwide Greek astrophysicists and astrophotography event. It was very successful. After that, we hosted that every year, up until the pandemic, obviously. But we had to cancel it. So hiking routes, all that. We saw this, that people wanted to come to our area, that it's a difficult area, and its roads are not so good. So this was a great experience, and I can talk about this. Western Greece and Etolokarnania, Hyannilia have other features, but Etolokarnania has underdeveloped areas. And I would like to stress what a lot of other people said. What we need is roads. To have more tourism, we need to have better roads. And alternative tourism, hiking tourism, all kinds of tourism. It needs roads, need improvement. And we would support this program through the platform. And if it's done correctly, it's going to be a very good tool for the region and for synergies we can have and for communication we can have. But in my opinion, we need to take this wider so that all municipalities can participate. Through this platform to show what paths we want. So we'll be in touch. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for participating. We are at the end. If there is no other things, I would like to say something. I would really like to warmly thank Sandra. She was so crucial to the program. She is a great person, very, very willing. I would like to thank you on behalf of all of us. Thank you. You helped greatly in this difficult program. So, I'm afraid I don't remember all the names of the Italian colleagues. I was very happy. I'm sorry we could not host them over here. Unfortunately, we couldn't host them like they hosted us there. You know, I had thought that we would have a great time here, but I hope that in the future, with other collaborations, we will have the opportunity to meet up and to host them over here. I would like to thank data consultants, Dora, Maria, everyone who helped. Ioanna Petri, the colleagues from the region of Western Greece, Dimitra Koliopoulou, who before she left on her maternity leave, she worked closely with us. Yanis Orlov, my colleague, I hope that he will continue the implementation of the program. It was a great pleasure to work with all of you, and you gave it your best in such a creative program. Thank you. I hope you're always healthy. Thank you. And I would like to thank all partners, starting with P.A.T.H, with Mr. Caberos, his entire team who worked on the project, Mr. Papasso, the region of Western Greece, Mr. Vasilis, Ioanna Petri, Kyriaki Premptou. I would like to thank, because he was crucial to the program, Mr. Makelaros, for his patience and perseverance and hard work and his collaboration. His team from the Altamura Park, the Taranto Authority, Mr. Alexandro Margio, all the Maria Donianda Pinto, all the Italian partners, thank you very much. And we hope that this journey will continue. Thank you. And we would also like to thank the representatives of the program managers who could not be here today, Mr. Gianfranco Catalete and Mrs. Crisa Fieri, and the communication officer of the program. Thank you very much.